There exists a secret known to the truly great, a secret so misunderstood, so overlooked, that it might as well be invisible to the common mind. It is not charisma. It is not luck. It is not even intelligence in the way the masses worship it. No, the power that elevates men and women from mediocrity to magnificence is something far quieter, far more disciplined, and infinitely more rare. That secret is consistency. And I tell you now with absolute conviction, being consistent will make you rich, rich not merely in wealth, but in mastery, rich in clarity, rich in strength, and ultimately rich in life itself. If you are ready to leave behind the weak habits of reaction, excuse, and doubt, if you are prepared to begin the inner conquest of self and commit to the quiet, relentless rhythm of mastery, then listen to me now, not with your ears, but with your inner faculty of truth. For I speak not to your present condition, but to the potential sleeping within you, the one you've ignored for far too long. Reason 1. Consistency builds unshakable character. Character is the foundation upon which every great success must be built. And character is not formed in a moment of inspiration. It is forged in the furnace of repetition. You become what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally attempt. If you act with discipline one day and abandon it the next, you have not grown. You have only flirted with the idea of greatness. But when you rise each morning with intention, when you discipline your actions to match your highest aim, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching, then, and only then, are you building a character that cannot be shaken. You see, character is the invisible architecture of your destiny. Without it, you are at the mercy of emotion, drifting wherever the winds of feeling take you. But with it, you are anchored, no storm can move you. Consistency is the cement of that character. If you wish to be rich, not merely in coin, but in confidence, resilience, and reputation, then you must ask yourself, what do I do every single day that moves me closer to mastery? For what you do once is irrelevant. What you do daily is who you are becoming. Reason 2. Consistency rewires the mind for power. Understand this law and never forget it. The mind becomes whatever it is fed consistently. Every thought repeated, every belief rehearsed, every action taken becomes not just memory but identity. You are training your mind each day, whether you realize it or not. The only question is, are you training it toward power or toward weakness? Autosuggestion, the silent incantation of belief, is made effective only through repetition. You cannot whisper confidence to your soul once and expect transformation. You must carve it into your subconscious like a sculptor chisels truth from stone slowly, persistently, precisely. When you are consistent, you begin to reprogram the most powerful machine in the known universe, your own mind. You replace fear with purpose. You replace doubt with discipline. You replace chaos with control. And that control, that inner dominion, is the birthplace of all outer success. Riches do not respond to chaos. They respond to order. And consistency is the law that creates order from within. Reason 3. Consistency destroys emotional reactivity. You must learn this truth. Every man who reacts to life emotionally is a slave to fear, a slave to criticism, a slave to the temporary state of his own feelings. He may speak of freedom, but in reality he is shackled, and the chain is his own undisciplined mind. But the man who is consistent has risen above the tyranny of the emotional storm, because when you are consistent, you do not ask your feelings for permission to act. You do not consult your mood before you move forward. You decide and then you execute regardless of internal noise. That is the definition of power. Consider this. How many dreams have died not because of lack of talent, but because the dreamer could not endure the boredom of repetition or the pain of temporary failure? Emotion screamed, "Stop!" and he obeyed. But the consistent man, the detached man, says, "I act according to principle, not feeling." He does not react. He responds strategically, purposefully, with the mind of a commander, not the heart of a victim. If you wish to become rich, first become emotionally untouchable. And if you wish to become emotionally untouchable, train in the fire of daily consistency. Reason 4. Consistency is the engine of mastery. Mastery is not a gift bestowed by the gods. It is the reward of those who choose boredom over brilliance, repetition over novelty, excellence over entertainment. Mastery is not glamorous, it is not loud, it is not always exciting, but it is final, and it belongs to those who do the work long after their motivation has left the room. You want to be rich, master something, become the authority, the go-to, the undeniable, and you cannot reach that state by dabbling, you reach it by obsession. And obsession, when guided by intelligence and discipline, becomes the highest form of consistency. You don't practice until you get it right. You practice until you cannot get it wrong. That is the level where wealth, opportunity, and influence begin to chase you because you have become irreplaceable. But you do not arrive there casually. You arrive there methodically. You arrive there by building the habit of discipline so deeply into your bones that it becomes instinct. Consistency is how you earn the right to be called a master. Reason 5. Consistency reveals the invisible forces of compounding. There is a force at work in this universe more powerful than raw talent, more enduring than luck, more divine than inspiration. It is the law of compounding, and it is accessed only through consistency. Most people never witness this force because they quit too early. They plant seeds of greatness, but dig them up the moment the results do not arrive fast enough. They abandon the path when the results are still invisible. But the consistent man knows all growth is invisible until it is undeniable. Each day of discipline is a drop in the reservoir. Each repetition is a whisper in the ear of destiny. And one day, without warning, the dam breaks. The results arrive. The world calls it luck, but you will know it was the quiet power of consistency that built the flood. Understand this. The compound effect rewards the relentless, not the brilliant. It honors the man who stays the course. It multiplies the results of small actions until they become unstoppable momentum. Riches do not come by force. They come by alignment. And consistency is how you align with the universal law of accumulation. Now hear me clearly, and do not forget this. If you are waiting for the right feeling, you will never move. If you are hoping for the perfect plan, you will never begin. If you are seeking praise, applause, or validation, you have already failed. But if you choose consistency in thought, in action, in discipline, you have already won. You are not here to be emotional. You are here to be effective. You are not here to dabble. You are here to dominate. You are not here to start and stop. You are here to finish what others fear, to build what others abandon, to become what others only fantasize about. This world will offer you 1,000 ways to fail: excuses, distractions, noise, approval, comfort, and all of them are poison to the man who seeks power. But you, if you choose the quiet path of repetition, the difficult road of discipline, the daily war against your lesser self, you will possess something few will ever taste: certainty. And from that certainty comes wealth in every form, internal and external, spiritual and material. Consistency is not a technique, it is not a tactic, it is a temperament, and once it becomes your nature, riches are inevitable. Choose today not with words but with action. Do what you said you would do. Repeat it tomorrow. Repeat it when you're tired. Repeat it when you're bored. Repeat it until the world has no choice but to recognize what you already know in your heart, that a man who cannot be broken in routine cannot be broken in life. That is why consistency will make you rich. And that is why your future begins the moment you decide to stop being a prisoner of mood and become a commander of mind. Now act, for time does not wait and success does not negotiate. It only responds to those who show up every single day. The world applauds ambition, but it secretly worships consistency. Why? Because ambition is noisy. It screams in the beginning, but too often dies in silence. Consistency, however, is silent from the start, yet in time. It becomes the loudest force in the room. It does not announce itself with fanfare. It moves like water, carving stone, until what once seemed immovable bends to its will. The masses admire charisma, charm, novelty, but results belong to those who choose to repeat excellence long enough for the world to be unable to ignore it. Understand this principle. Motion is not progress. Action is not power, unless that action is directed, sustained, and aligned with purpose. The drifter is always moving but never becoming. The man of consistency is never rushed, never frantic, but always advancing, quietly, relentlessly, irreversibly. There are three domains over which you must build total command if you are to live this principle of consistency. Master these, and you will master not just your craft, but your destiny. 1. Consistency of thought. The first realm of conquest is the battlefield within the mind. Your thoughts are not trivial. They are not passing vapors to be indulged and dismissed. They are instructions, commands sent to your subconscious, which obeys without question. And if your thinking is scattered, reactive, self-defeating, so too will your reality be. But if your thoughts are disciplined, repeated, ordered, reality itself begins to bend to your will. Repeat this truth aloud each morning if you must. As I think consistently, so I become inevitably. There is no secret shortcut to self-mastery. There is only the work of vigilance, the hourly decision to align your internal dialogue with the man or woman you are becoming, not the one you have been. Every time you indulge in complaining, in doubt, in fear-based reasoning, you deposit poison into the vault of your future. But when you rehearse your vision, when you affirm your power, when you discipline your mental chatter, you are feeding the furnace of belief that will one day move mountains in your favor. Your thoughts are seeds, and every day of consistency waters them, so only what you are willing to harvest. R. Consistency of behavior. Discipline begins in the mind, but it is proven in action. Do not tell me who you are. Show me your calendar. Show me your daily rituals. Your habits do not lie, even when your words do. You either act with intention or you act with excuse. There is no neutral ground. And let me be very clear. Success is not something you work on when you feel like it. It is something you build brick by brick with the blood of discipline and the mortar of commitment. You wake up and you execute. You feel resistance and you push forward anyway. You face rejection and you keep going. You fail and you return stronger, sharper, and more unshakable than before. Greatness does not belong to the motivated. It belongs to the obsessed. An obsession without consistency is just delusion. But obsession with consistency, that is the formula for the unstoppable. Do not confuse movement with momentum. Do not confuse activity with productivity. Real behavior, the kind that changes your life, is not what you do when you're inspired. It's what you do when you're tired, disappointed, ignored, and unrecognized, and you show up anyway. Consistency of behavior is how the invisible becomes visible. It is how your inner world rewrites your outer world, and it is how you earn the respect of the only person whose opinion matters, yourself. San, consistency of emotional state. Here lies the rarest mastery of all the command over one's emotional climate. Most men are ruled by mood. They rise when they are praised and fall when they are doubted. They act when they are excited and retreat when they are discouraged. This is not power. This is dependence. This is the opposite of freedom. If you seek wealth in any form, you must become independent of external weather. You must become internally governed. The warrior of success does not wait for permission to be consistent. He creates his own emotional environment through intention, preparation, and reflection. To achieve emotional consistency, you must kill the part of you that lives for the validation of others. You must bury the addiction to approval. The applause of the crowd is never stable. But the voice of principle is eternal. Let your discipline be your dopamine. Let your ritual be your reward. Let your mission be your medicine. And when the world throws chaos and uncertainty and betrayal, as it surely will, let your emotional neutrality be your fortress. Let stillness be your strength. Not because you are indifferent, but because you are in control. True emotional detachment does not mean you do not feel. It means you do not obey your feelings when they are out of alignment with your purpose. Now listen closely, because I will tell you something that few will ever admit. Most people do not stay consistent because they are addicted to being entertained by their own failure. They crave chaos. They enjoy the drama of starting and stopping. They wear their inconsistency like a badge of identity, and so long as they believe that their emotions deserve obedience, they will continue to fall. But you, if you are ready, can choose another way. You can choose the path of power. You can choose the sacred monotony of greatness. You can choose the invisible, lonely, patient road that leads not to applause, but to real results. And I promise you this, the world will notice, not in a week, not in a month, but in time. Because the world cannot resist the pull of a man or woman who moves with unwavering force every day, without excuse, without exception. Consistency is not a tactic. It is not a motivational quote. It is a spiritual identity. And once you wear it, once it becomes who you are, then you no longer chase success. Success begins to chase you. Listen to this carefully. Your identity is not something you find, it is something you build. And the raw material from which your identity is constructed is your consistency. Every repetition is a brick. Every habit is a beam. Every choice, a cornerstone. When you act in alignment with principle over and over again, you are not merely making progress, you are constructing a new being, a new consciousness, one that no longer negotiates with weakness. And this is where the rich are truly separated from the poor, not in income, but in internal architecture. The rich in spirit have constructed themselves through years of consistent thought, emotion, and behavior. The poor in mind are still waiting for the world to build them up. But no external force can give you what only internal force can earn. So, I ask you now, with sincerity and urgency, what are you repeating? For whatever you repeat, you become. If you repeat procrastination, you become hesitation. If you repeat complaint, you become weakness. If you repeat emotional reaction, you become chaos. But if you repeat discipline, you become fortitude. If you repeat principle, you become power. If you repeat stillness, you become sovereign. Your identity is not fixed, it is not permanent, but it is also not random. It is forged daily through the hammer of consistency. And let us now speak of the power of decision, for here lies the moment when consistency is born or betrayed. You are always at a crossroads. One path leads to indulgence, the other to integrity. One leads to the same pattern you've always lived, the other to the version of yourself you were born to become. Every day, every hour, every minute you are deciding. You are voting with your actions, and your future is the result of that silent election. If you would be rich, you must become decisive, not reactive, not hesitant, not a victim of overthinking. You must decide and then act until completion. This is the essence of consistency. It is not a mood, it is not a trend, it is a way of life. Do not confuse perfection with progress. You will stumble, you will fall. But consistency is not about never falling. It is about always returning, always rising, always showing up, especially after defeat, especially after disappointment. For it is in those moments that the gods of destiny are watching. Not when you succeed, but when you fail and continue anyway. This is why so few ever reach the summit, because they believe success is linear, clean, easy. But you must know the truth. Greatness is forged in the return, the comeback, the recommitment, the quiet moment after humiliation, where you choose to rise with dignity rather than drown in regret. And this is why consistency is not merely a habit, it is a spiritual weapon. It kills the disease of weakness. It starves the hunger for distraction. It burns the bridge to mediocrity. It is how you rise, not just in results, but in reputation with yourself. You must trust this. Every act of discipline is a deposit in the vault of self-respect. And when that vault is full, nothing external can touch you. Not failure, not betrayal, not delay. You become immune to the poison of circumstance because you are nourished by your own integrity. Let me now give you 5 disciplines, laws, if you will, that when practiced consistently will elevate you beyond the reach of ordinary men. Memorize them, live them, etch them into your daily code. Discipline 1, the morning mind command. Each morning is a new battlefield. Before the world touches you, you must command your thoughts. Begin each day not with reaction, but with creation. Before you check the opinions of others, align with the authority within. Speak aloud your vision, affirm your strength, anchor your purpose. Do not leave your mindset to chance. Your thoughts upon waking are the architect of your momentum. Begin with discipline, and the day bends to your will. Begin with distraction, and the day owns you. Your mind. First thing in the morning is clay. Mold it into power, or let the world mold it into passivity. But understand, it will be molded, and that power is yours alone to wield. Discipline 2, the sacred hour of mastery. Every single day, without fail, dedicate one sacred, uninterrupted hour to your craft. This is not negotiation. This is law. No matter the chaos of the world, no matter the emotional state you find yourself in, you must sit, focus, practice, and improve. Not because you feel like it, but because your destiny demands it. Consistency is built in ritual. Greatness is built in solitude. Mastery does not arrive in lightning bolts. It arrives in quiet, thankless, repeated hours of focus when no one is watching. 1 hour per day, 5 years without fail, and you will surpass 99% of the population. 10 years, and you will become undeniable. Most will not do this. Most cannot. But if you can, you will have what they will never touch: legendary skill. Discipline 3, the silence of emotional control. Your power is in your ability to remain unmoved. You must build a life where your inner world is not dependent on outer praise or pressure. This is the true wealth of kings: emotional sovereignty. Never react in public. Never explain yourself out of insecurity. Never indulge the weakness of needing others to understand. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be respected. And respect is born from restraint. Every time you withhold emotional reaction, you are reclaiming your throne. Every time you stay silent in the presence of foolishness, you are feeding your strength. Remember, consistency of response is the armor of the powerful. Be water calm, patient, but capable of force when necessary. Discipline 4, the law of relentless refinement. Consistency is not stagnation. It is movement with intention. Each week you must review, reflect, and refine. What can you improve? What no longer serves your mission? What did you tolerate this week that weakens your position? If you are not refining, you are decaying. Life will not allow you to remain still. You are either evolving or dissolving. Consistency does not mean repetition of error. It means repetition of excellence. It means you study yourself like a commander studies the battlefield. It means your life is not lived by accident, but by design. Every consistent warrior becomes his own strategist. Review your days, audit your actions, eliminate weakness ruthlessly. You are not here to be average. You are here to be exact. Discipline 5, the closing code of completion. End each day with integrity. Before you rest, review. Ask yourself, did I move closer to who I said I would become? Did I honor my word not to others but to myself? Did I betray my vision by indulging temporary emotions? Do not sleep with broken promises echoing in your mind. Fix what you can, prepare what must be done, and rest not in distraction but in resolve. Success is not only built in the morning, it is secured at night. When the world is silent and you face yourself, close your day with order, and you program your subconscious to rise with power. Close your day in chaos and you sow the seeds of doubt. The choice is always yours. Now hear this final truth for this segment. Consistency is not something you build for one area of life. It is not just about your work, your body, or your income. It is about who you become in all moments, public and private, praised and persecuted, celebrated and forgotten. It is a full spectrum way of living. It is a vow you make not to the world, but to the voice within that knows what you are truly capable of. And I promise you, if you make that vow and keep it daily, something magnificent will awaken within you, a strength, a fire, a clarity that no man, no failure, no delay can ever steal. That, my friend, is what will make you rich, not just in wealth, but in legend. The terrain now grows steeper, the air thinner, but only here can we grasp what lesser minds fear to even contemplate. Here lies the truth most never want to face. The difference between mediocrity and magnificence is not knowledge, not intelligence, not opportunity, it is follow-through. And follow-through is the child of consistency. You must now grasp a higher law, the law of internal order. Until a man has order within, he will never command order without. He may wear the garments of success, speak the language of ambition, surround himself with symbols of power, but if his mind is chaotic, if his habits are inconsistent, if his emotions rule his actions, he is not sovereign. He is still a slave. What then is internal order? It is the alignment of your thought, word, and deed. It is when what you believe, what you speak, and what you do all flow in one singular direction, like an arrow aimed at destiny. Most live fragmented lives, one part of them dreams, another part doubts, another part delays, and all the while, the world passes them by. but the consistent man is unified. He is not many men, he is one. And because he is one, he is unstoppable. Think of the great pyramids not built in a day, not built in haste, not built by emotion. They were built by consistency, precision, repetition. Stone upon stone, decade upon decade, vision sustained through storms, setbacks, and centuries. You are no different. Your greatness will not appear in an instant. It will emerge like a monument crafted in silence, revealed in time. So let us now take the climb higher into the deeper disciplines of command. For to be consistent is not merely to act, it is to rule over the elements of your nature that resist discipline. The discipline of delayed emotion. Understand this. Emotion is the assassin of execution. When ungoverned, it murders clarity, it poisons focus, it hijacks direction. Most failures do not occur because of inability, they occur because of emotional surrender. A mood swings, a feeling shifts, and the entire architecture of a goal collapses. You must rise above this. You must learn the discipline of delaying emotion. Do not suppress it, do not deny it, but do not obey it in the moment. Let emotion flow, but let decision wait. Let the storm pass before you steer the ship. Let the wave crash, then choose your action. This is not apathy. This is strategic detachment. This is what separates commanders from casualties. The man who acts while emotionally compromised is at war with himself. The man who waits and then acts from principle wins. The ritual of non-negotiable standards. In the mind of the consistent, there is no such thing as optional. There is no such thing as when I feel like it. There is only law, not imposed from without, but declared from within. The consistent do not need motivation, they need a mirror. Because when they look into that mirror, they see a man who does not break his word to himself. You must declare certain behaviors sacred, non-negotiable, absolute. Not because the world demands it, but because your vision requires it. The body must be trained. The time must be protected. The craft must be sharpened. Daily, not when it is easy, but especially when it is not. These standards will become your signature. The world will know you not by your words, but by the pattern of excellence you live by. People may not understand your rules, they don't have to. They're not meant for them. They are the scaffolding of the empire you are building. The ascension through repetition. Let us now speak of a divine paradox. The higher you rise, the more you repeat. This is contrary to what the world believes. The average man thinks mastery is escape from repetition, that success means freedom from routine. He is wrong, dead wrong. Masters repeat more, not less. The closer you move to the peak of excellence, the more precise, the more focused, the more reverent you become about the small things. You do not seek novelty, you seek refinement. Tiger Woods still practices his swing. A world-class orator still rehearses his speech. A great writer still edits every sentence. Why? Because repetition is not punishment, it is evolution. The more you repeat with intention, the more each act becomes art. You do not become robotic, you become refined. So let the world mock your repetition. Let them call it obsessive. You do not answer to them. You answer to the voice within the one that whispers, perfect this, then again, then again. And one day, the world will stand before your results in awe, never understanding the sacred boredom that built it. The shield of thought neutrality. In the war for consistency, the battlefield is your thought life. And here, you must build a shield, a mental armor known as neutrality. This does not mean you do not think. It means you do not allow your thoughts to run unchecked. You observe your thoughts, you filter them, you choose which ones get to stay. Most people are dragged through life by mental garbage they never questioned. You must rise higher. You must treat each thought like a guest at the gate of your palace. If it brings doubt, delay, distraction, it is denied entry. This is the discipline of accurate thinking. It is what Hill spoke of when he said, truth is a matter of cold, hard analysis, not emotion, not opinion, not sentiment. You must think with the precision of a surgeon. You must speak to yourself with the clarity of a general, and you must reject any thought that contradicts your mission, no matter how seductive it may feel. Consistency begins with clarity, and clarity is born from thought sovereignty. The death of the when myth. Now let us destroy one final lie, the myth of when. The weak man says, I'll start when I feel ready. I'll be consistent when life slows down. I'll build discipline when I have more time. That man is already lost. There is no when. There is only now. Every time you delay your discipline, you affirm your weakness. Every time you defer to some imagined future, you declare that your vision is not worth fighting for today. You think you have time. Time is a loan, and no one knows when the lender will come to collect. The consistent man does not gamble with time. He respects it. He moves now. He acts now. He trains now. Because he knows, if I master the moment, I master my life. You do not rise when it is convenient. You rise because your standard will not allow otherwise. That is the essence of the consistent. They are not motivated, they are possessed by purpose. Now ask yourself this question, not casually, but with the full weight of your life behind it. What could I become if I simply refused to stop? Not for a day, not for a month, but forever. Who would I become if my action was no longer tied to my emotion? What would I achieve if my behavior never again negotiated with weakness? The answers to these questions are not fantasies. They are inevitable outcomes if, and only if, you choose consistency. Relentless, ruthless, reverent. This is not self-help. This is self-command. Then we ascend beyond discipline, beyond routine, beyond the boundaries of ordinary comprehension, into the domain where only the elite of the inner world ever reach, the domain of immortal consistency, where the man becomes the message, and the message becomes the movement. It is here, at the peak of unseen repetition, that the consistent individual transcends action and becomes a force of nature. No longer dependent on motivation, untouched by applause or attack, unmoved by praise or rejection, he acts because action is his nature, and nature does not explain itself. There is a moment, rarely reached but unmistakable in its gravity, where your consistency crosses a threshold and becomes your identity. Not something you do, but someone you are. This is not discipline anymore, this is being. The ritual becomes your rhythm. The grind becomes your grace. The practice becomes your personality. And when you reach that moment, my friend, you become dangerous, because nothing can stop a man who no longer questions his path. From that place, your value multiplies. Your results accelerate. And more than anything, your energy changes. You no longer leak confidence by betraying your own standards. You no longer negotiate with the part of yourself that wants comfort. You no longer fear rejection because your validation is internal. You become inevitable. Now understand this. The world is always watching, not with eyes, but with sensors of consistency. It can feel whether you mean it, whether you're real, whether you're permanent. The world clients, partners, allies, opportunities, they do not respond to talk, they respond to signal. And your signal is your consistency. This is why a man of lesser talent, lesser charm, lesser intellect who is consistent will surpass the brilliant but erratic genius. Because he is trustable, reliable, predictable in execution, and in a world full of flakiness and fantasy, predictability becomes a superpower. Reliability becomes an asset. You become someone others want to follow, buy from, partner with, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you never left. Let me now give you a new frame, one you must write on the walls of your mind. Consistency is not discipline. It is love. Yes, love. Because when you truly love your vision, you protect it with repetition. When you love your craft, you return to it daily. When you love your future, you no longer betray it for a temporary feeling. Love is not passion. Love is loyalty. And loyalty, when applied to your purpose, becomes consistency. You do not go to war for what you kind of sort of want. You go to war for what you love. And consistency is the daily war on the part of you that wants to quit. You win that war with devotion, not hype. So do not merely try harder. Fall in love deeper. Love your potential so profoundly that inconsistency feels like betrayal. Love your standards so intensely that compromise feels like sin. Love your mission so completely that distraction feels like death, because in truth, it is. Now, let us confront the final guardian at the gate of greatness, the lie of intensity. The world has sold you a false god, the myth that success comes from bursts of intensity. That one heroic effort will deliver you to your destiny. That some grand gesture will unlock the gates of fortune. Lies. It is not intensity that builds empires, it is duration. It is not the man who works all night once a month that wins, it is the man who works without fail, every morning, every day, every week, for years. Intensity makes noise, but consistency makes history. You cannot sprint your way to legacy. You must march, with rhythm, with tempo, with purpose. And when your legs ache, you march still. When your heart doubts, you march still. When your mind wanders, you march still. Until one day you look around and realize you are alone at the top. Not because you were lucky, not because you were chosen, but because you refused to stop. Now let me speak directly to the part of you that still waits, still hopes, still clings to a fantasy of success without pain. Kill it. Kill the daydream that says you can win without sacrifice. Destroy the illusion that you will someday feel ready. Burn the lie that says others are just more gifted. No, the only gift they have is that they outlasted the weak part of themselves. You can do the same. You are not too late, you are not too old, you are not too behind. But you are at war, and wars are not won with emotions. They are won with orders, commands, rituals, repetitions. You either live on schedule or you live by struggle. The man who moves by emotion gets tossed by every wind. The man who moves by consistency becomes the wind. Let the world guess what's next. You already know. You do the same thing you did yesterday. You return to the work, you return to the grind, you return to the code. Because the code is who you are now. Let them chase trends. Let them chase fame. Let them post and perform. You, my friend, are building something real. You are becoming something immovable. And one day, the same people who doubted your boring, disciplined, repetitive path will ask how you did it. You won't have to explain. Your results will do the talking. Because results only follow one kind of person. The one who never broke the chain. The one who kept the vow. The one who showed up every damn day. That one becomes rich. Rich in disciplina. Rich in identity. Rich in skill. Rich in peace. Rich in command. Rich in legacy. And now, as we prepare to bring this ascent to its final climax, the only question remaining is this. Are you ready to never be average again? The time for theory is over. The time for talking is dead. What remains is the eternal confrontation, you versus you versus the part of yourself that still makes excuses, that still negotiates, that still flinches at the cold edge of commitment. That part is dying. Let it. What you are becoming cannot coexist with who you were. And if you still need permission, hear this now. You are no longer allowed to be weak. You are no longer allowed to be ruled by moods, to be swayed by noise, to be distracted by mediocrity. You are no longer allowed to worship the false gods of comfort, comparison, and convenience. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be explained. You are not here to participate in the circus of failure the world calls normal. You are here to build. You are here to conquer. You are here to complete the mission, and the mission is you. Consistency is no longer a tool. It is a law of your existence. You breathe, you move, you execute, you return, you repeat. Not because it's easy, but because nothing else matters. Because anything less would be treason to your potential. Because deep down, you know this is the path. Not the loudest, not the most glamorous, but the only one that works. Now, let us look back not with nostalgia, but with clarity. Look at all the days you started and stopped. Look at the promises broken in silence. Look at the disciplines dropped the moment they became inconvenient. And realize that was never the real you. That was the frightened version, the temporary tenant, the visitor, the imposter who wore your face. Now evict him. He cannot stay in the same house where excellence will live. He cannot sleep in the bed reserved for fire. He cannot walk the halls of your future, where only royalty of mind and mastery of action are permitted. That version of you must die, so the true one can rise. Yes, rise, not with noise, not with spectacle, but with relentless, divine repetition. Quiet, predictable, relentless. You are not reborn in grand epiphanies. You are reborn in repetitions of strength, 1 hour at a time, one choice at a time, one morning of discipline at a time, one rejection endured, one temptation ignored, one sacred hour of silence where you looked your future in the face and said, I will not leave you this time. And when you stack those repetitions day after day, week after week, year after year, you become unrecognizable, not to others, but to the version of yourself that used to settle. He won't even know your name because you're no longer dreaming of transformation. You are transformation. Now listen to me not as a motivator, but as a messenger. You do not get to cheat this path. You do not get to skip the grind. You do not get to fake consistency. And that's good, because if you could fake it, they would steal it from you. But they can't. They can steal your ideas. They can copy your tactics. They can even borrow your words. But they cannot steal your daily commitment. They cannot fake your self-governed rituals. They cannot manufacture your non-negotiable repetitions. They cannot duplicate your inner order. They cannot access the fortress of power you've built because the bricks are forged in solitude, in suffering, in silence, the kind of silence only you hear when the world stops watching and the real work begins. And now, I give you the final truth. The most dangerous man alive is not the most talented, not the most gifted, not even the most intelligent. The most dangerous man alive is the one who has mastered consistency. He is the one who has replaced emotion with execution. He is the one who no longer seeks external motivation because he's learned to produce fire from within. He is the one who trains when no one is watching, who builds when no one believes, who repeats his discipline so many times that excellence becomes unconscious. He is not subject to the weather. He is the climate. He is not shaken by setbacks. He expects resistance and keeps going. He is not dependent on recognition. He is defined by completion. He is not a man chasing success. He is a force attracting it. Because the world bows not to the loud, not to the lucky, not to the clever, but to the consistent. The consistent become rich, rich in confidence because they've earned their own respect, rich in skill because they've put in the hours when others slept, rich in peace because their mind is ordered, their mission is clear, and their soul is aligned, rich in power because no external circumstance can override their internal command, and rich in legacy because they've built what time cannot erase. This is what awaits you, if and only if you choose it. Not once, not for a season, not until it gets hard, but forever. That is the price. That is the vow. That is the path. And it begins not tomorrow, but now. So go. Don't hope. Act. Don't talk. Build. Don't chase. Repeat. And do it again. And again. And again. Until the world has no choice but to call you master. This is the law. This is the path. This is consistency. And this will make you rich.